Hey, wonderful kindergartners again. Okay, like I told you before, we were reading a story about Anna and her friends, and we talked about where that story took place. This time, we're going to read a different story about Hugo and his dad, and we're going to think about the setting again. Remember, say that with me setting, where the story is set, kind of like setting the table, where things go. So we're going to read another story in your packet if you want to follow along and read with me. It starts on page 65 and it is called The Tower Climb. Someone's climbing again, just like Anna did in the other story. So this is called The Tower Climb. And it kind of looks like apartments, but it's set in a place where the buildings are all built together. Some of them are tall, some of them have tunnels that you can go through. And so it's a different kind of place where, other than where we live in apartments and houses. Okay, you ready? Remember page 65, it's talking about the tower climb, and we are thinking about, to help us understand the story, we're thinking about where the story takes place so that we can answer the questions correctly. Okay, ready? Hugo looked all around. He saw walls, tunnels, and paths dug into the cliff. Cliff is kind of like a side of a mountain. People had lived here long ago. So we know already the setting, it took place in a place where people used to live long, long ago, not right now, today, like we live. Hugo and his dad loved exploring this place. Hugo crawled into a tunnel. The tunnel led him up and up. He saw a ladder. It went almost straight up. Hugo climbed. Now, Hugo's using a ladder. Remember, Anna in her story used a what? A vine. Good. Suddenly, Hugo felt the sun. He was in a tall, high tower. Hugo heard a tiny sound. He saw a little animal. What is that? He asked. It looks like a spotted owl, his dad said. Hugo frowned. Look, the owl has a broken wing. Can we take it with us? We can get help at the bottom, his dad said. Yes. It's a long way down, Dad. How can I keep the owl safe? Dad said, well, the people who lived here long ago, they carried babies on their backs. We usually carry babies on our front, but the people long ago carried babies on their back, probably because they had to carry other things, right? So they used flat boards or baskets. Hugo said, I know what to do. Hugo got his backpack and he put the owl inside it. Stay safe, he whispered. Then Hugo led the way down. He did not slip on the ladder. He did not bump the walls of the tunnel. He did not trip on the path. Hugo and his dad were at the bottom of the cliff. Hugo gently opened his backpack. The tiny owl was safe. Come on, little one. Let's fix that broken wing, Hugo said. And that was the end of that story. Now we're going to answer a couple of the questions here that remind us about the setting, okay? So on page 72, that is where you would circle your letters for the answer to the questions, okay? So, number one, it says, where are Hugo and his dad in this part of the story? You're correct. It's A. They are outside of an old town because the story said it took place where the people lived long ago in the cliffs on the side of a mountain. Okay, so next it says, where is Hugo when he feels the sun? Is it A, he's inside the tunnel? Well, you can't feel the sun too much if you're inside the tunnel, right? Correct. B, Hugo is on the ground. Or C, Hugo is up in the tower. You're correct. It is C. He is up in the tower where he starts feeling the sun shining on him. Question number 3. Why does the owl need Hugo's help? What was wrong with the owl? Is it A, the owl is lost, B, the owl is hot, or C, the owl is hurt? You're correct. That was an easy one. It's because the owl is hurt. Because remember, Hugo said his wing was broken. Question number 4, where does Hugo need to take the owl? Is it A, higher up into the tower, B, back into the tunnel, or C, down to the ground? Correct, it is C. He needs to take the owl back down to the ground so he can help its broken wing. On question number 6, it asks, why is Hugo careful as he comes down from the tower? Is it A, he is worried about the hurt owl? B, he is worried about getting lost? Or C, he is worried about the ladder? The answer would be, you are correct, A, he is worried about the hurt owl. He doesn't want the owl to get hurt much anymore. So that was an interesting story, and it took place where we don't know a whole lot about, but we are going to look at some other books that would help us understand where a cliff is and how people looked there long ago the next time we get ready to read about the setting. Okay? So remember, if you did not read along with me, that story takes place on page 65, and it's called The Tower Climb. And it's almost kind of like the story we read earlier about Anna, where she climbed up high in the jungle. So her story took place in the jungle, and this story takes place in the side of the cliff, and it's climbing up into towers. That helps us to understand about how the people lived where Hugo and his dad went. So remember to look for some other stories that might have to do about setting, which help you to understand where a story takes place, and it helps us to understand more about the story. Okay? So it was good reading with you, and I shall return with a different story next. Okay? So I'm looking forward to seeing you then. And until then, you have a great rest of your day. Okay? Bye for now.